Hey, it's Chrissy and Amanda.
Two girls from Saskatchewan, Canada, living the Reiki life while working the 9 to 5.
Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. You're here with me, Christy, and Amanda, and we have a very special episode to share with you today. It was just such a amazing conversation to sit down with Maria and just learn more about her and her story and how she relates to Reiki. And yeah, it was just an amazing conversation that I can't wait for you guys to listen to. But if you've been part of this podcast, you know that we like to share little updates about ourselves just so you get to know us a little bit more. And we like to share, you know, when little magical things happen or things in Reiki practices. And yeah, anyway, so Amanda, what's going on with you?
So for me, I'm really excited. So this comes out on the 15th, and the 16th, I'll be teaching my very first master's class. So I'm really excited because I've never taught this before. I obviously have a plan, and I'm going to go pretty in depth, of course, review levels 1 and 2 and just help people how they would teach and then do attunements. But I'm really excited, and I really love the student that I'm going to be teaching, and it'll be late for anyone else unless they really hop on the ball on the 15th, I guess, reach out to me for masters. But you know, it's so interesting. I wanted to say this. So I took my 1, 2, 3 in masters with someone else. And then I wanted to teach Usui Reiki really bad. And I thought I could just jump in and just take my master's, right? Because I've been practicing Reiki for years at this point. And she's like, no, you have to take levels 1 and 2 with me. And at the time, I was kind of bitter. And I kind of thought, is she just wanting my money? You know, I just kind of thought, what a rip. But now I really, really get it. I actually got it when I completed my master's with her. So she made me retake my levels 1 and 2 with her and then do the master's. And honestly, there are so many different manuals out there. And a lot of my other students have actually brought in their manuals from other classes, and they're so different. So I understand that if you want to be teaching this one day, you got to have levels 1 and 2 with me and have my manual so you're teaching this, right? You can't have some information here and some information there. And like you would think that all the levels 1s would be the same, but they're kind of not. And then so stuff that I teach in level 1, they hadn't covered yet, so I would hate for something to be missed. So I totally get it. And as crummy as that kind of was at the time, I can definitely respect it and understand why, especially now that I'm going to be teaching my first master's and just navigating how that's going to go. So anyways, I'm really excited, and kudos to anyone else going on the master's journey, and good luck to you if you are, and it's great.
That's such a big deal to walk someone through that journey. And, you know, I remember you going through that being like, what, I have to do 1 and 2 with you? I already am a Reiki master in another type of Reiki. But yeah, the way you explained it, it's a journey with that teacher. And, you know, there's some Reiki courses out there that are like really short and don't entail like everything you need to know. But I guess every teacher is so different in the way that they're going to teach that I believe, yeah, you got to start that journey and end that journey with that teacher. That is, yeah, very, very important.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. And what's going on with you, Christy?
Yeah, so I've been really busy with my Akashic readings, which is amazing. And I'm very grateful for everyone that books an appointment with me. You know, I have all my notifications shut off on my phone. The only one that comes up to notify me is when somebody books an appointment. And when I woke up this morning, somebody booked an appointment, and it's so exciting. I just love when that happens because it's like then we start the journey together. And there's just been so much magic in the Akashic records, and I'm learning so much about myself as well as I walk people through these journeys and these past lives and these present life things that are going on. And it's so interesting how it's mirrored back to me what maybe I'm going through. And like one of my mentors always said, we walk the journey together. So that's just something I wanted to share. And also, I'm just really struggling with like the work balance with working, you know, the 9 to 5 and then having gas in the tank at the end of the night or on the weekend to do these readings because they take a lot of like, you know, mental capacity. I have to be in the right mind and right energy. You know, like if my tank is at 30%, I don't have enough to give to my reading. So I just had a really busy month of my 9 to 5, and now it's I have some holidays booked, so I'm really excited for that, and I'm just getting caught up on some readings here and just trying to find a balance. But yeah, it's, you know, I got to practice what I preach. I'm telling everybody, you got to fill your cup up. You got to plug in your phone, like your body, your mental body, your emotional body, physical body, and charge all those centers. So I think it's, you know, sometimes a lesson, the things that we go through, you learn like what's working, what's not working, and what needs to be tweaked. So that's where I'm at right now in my practice. And yeah, I'm going to be tweaking some things. I want to show up on Instagram more. I want to work on my website. So there's all these different things, and there's never enough time in the day. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for the Akashic records. It's pure magic. And you know, what's interesting is I booked an Akashic reading for myself, because I kept saying I'm going to clear my own record, because I know Kayla, my teacher, she'll clear her own record, but she said sometimes you'll have blind spots and you'll need to go to somebody else to clear things. And you know, my guides were like, no, Chrissy, outsource this, give it to somebody else. So I'm waiting on my reading for myself. So I'm super pumped about that, to be on the other end of things. So
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just like trying to pull cards for yourself, even doing Reiki on yourself. Like self Reiki is great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes, you know, I need you to give me an unbiased session and just work my body. You know, it's the same thing. And I've just personally had my own session done too by someone else I wanted to try out and support her. And it's a wonderful idea. It's really good. It'll be a good way too, like to clean yourself up energetically, like you're saying, and find that balance. And it's a good like restart. I like the whole thing around it.
yeah, I'm just going to be wiping my slate clean, and I'm hoping, like, I'm setting the intention that maybe I will find out why I'm disorganized in this lifetime, and why my time management skills are not great. And, you know, maybe there's something going on in my past life, or a fear of success where I self-sabotage. You know, like, there's so many different things that can happen. So that was my intention for the reading. So we'll see what all comes out.
Right on. You'll have to keep us posted on that.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Cool. Okay. And just a quick astrology update. On August 23rd, we got that new moon in Virgo still coming up. So it's an earth sign, and it's that hermit card in the tarot deck. So, you know, really about wisdom and inner guidance. That's kind of funny, Christy. Maybe you'll get your reading around this time. This new moon symbolizes clarity and healthy routines, service, and meticulous organization. It marks a fresh lunar cycle aligned with practical results. Yeah, that Virgo energy is a very practical sign. So, really good time to get organized. And especially summer's kind of closing a little bit. Well, it is here. Maybe we got another month, but, you know, people are going back to school then. So, it's a really good time to get organized and feel that with kids and everything like that.
Oh yeah. I love Virgo energy, because I'm a Virgo rising, and I really love, but you know, I'm like not super organized. So I wonder how that all works. Maybe I look like I'm organized on the outside. I have things together, but in the meantime, it's not that way. But yeah, no, I love Virgo energy. It's a good time.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So let's get into the episode with Maria. I hope you guys enjoy.
Enjoy.
So Maria Marshall is the founder and CEO of Gaia Goddess Lifestyle, a company dedicated to healing and empowering women. Gaia Goddess provides both online and in-person resources, educational opportunities, and community events to enhance women's healing and overall well-being. Maria is an intuitive, integrative energy healer. She uses techniques such as Reiki, sound, chroma light therapy, and breath work. We are so excited to have Maria here today to share about her Reiki journey and her business, Gaia Goddess. So welcome, Maria.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. Beautiful introduction.
Right on.
I love your website, Maria. And I love
Thank
that
you.
you are really bringing in like this rise, like there's such a rise of the divine feminine. And I love that you're gathering women and giving them a community. And there's a lot of great resources on your website. But let's get in first about how you found Reiki and how did that look like for you? What was your opening, or if there was
Yeah.
an opening? I'm sure there was.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting story. We all have these soul awakening moments, and my mother had passed, and I'd never seen a psychic or reader in my entire life. And a friend gave me a list, and I wanted the Reiki master that speaks to the dead, but she never returned my call. So I ended up with the guy who sees guardian angels. And I had no interest really in meeting my guardian angel. I wanted to see my dead mother. And I didn't see my dead mother, but I got told that I was a healer. I got told I was here for women and children. I got told that I had a vibration to remove illness. What did I specialize in? And he said, you can do anything, acupuncture, acupressure, or Reiki. I thought, well, acupuncture, that's like 4 years training. I think Reiki's only 4 hours for level 1. I think I'll go with Reiki also because it's intuitive. And I had studied with a body of work called Access Consciousness. And what I love so much about that was such a great foundation to know that know that you are your own healer. And it put me on track to trust myself. So I went, the energy, the actually reader, the angel reader, who is a dear friend of mine today, has gotten me out of so many tight spots. He was the Reiki teacher, and I studied with him. And the day I got level 1 training, a friend called me up and she was shaking like a leaf. And she said, I just got diagnosed with breast cancer. Can I come over? And, that's what they say. Oftentimes, if you're meant to use it and you're going to plan on using it, it will come find you. The people will find you. And that's certainly what happened in my case.
Thanks so much for sharing that journey with us. Like, everyone's journey to finding Reiki is always so unique. So we just love hearing how it came into your life. So were you able to help your friend that day when she came over?
Yeah. I mean, the lovely thing about that was that here I was just having learned it, first person to come over. And I was hearing things already. I mean, wow. I in retrospect realized I'm clairaudient, but I didn't have any reference point for what that was at that time. And so she said to me, I think I know how I manifested this cancer. I asked God to be more spiritual. And I said, look at you, you powerful creator. Of course you did. And you're not dying of this. And she kind of knew that as well. So I worked with her a few times. One of the interesting things about me, according to my guardian angel, is the alien part of me would go nuts if I had to see somebody 40 times in a row. So what I tend to be is the person who hands out the tools. I open you up. I give you a taste of what it can be. I give you some messages. Maybe I give you a book. Maybe I'm like, oh my God, you're a Reiki healer. Did you know that? Whatever's meant to come through me, it's a 1, 2, 3 times maximum deal. I tend to work in larger groups. So what I did do, since I wasn't going to open an office, I went to a homeless shelter called Lotus House for women and children. And at the time, it was a dilapidated 3 buildings. They had 3 families in 1 apartment and cockroaches this big. And every time I would go there to volunteer, I would do it 2 days a week. My back would go out. I would go there with crystals and programmed MP3 players with meditation so that when they were going on their job interviews, they could listen to frequencies. So I brought more than Reiki, and I trained 6 volunteers. I really set up the program at Lotus House. First Nation's first holistic shelter. No microwaves, tea stations on every floor, pretty spectacular. And they were treating the children as well as the moms. They were getting therapy. So it was kind of cutting edge and still is. And what I loved about it was that the first time I showed up, 3 women were there, and one said, oh my God, I asked God for you, and here you are. She said, it's really getting bad here. And I said, I don't think I could last another day. Send me something, someone. And she knew it was me. And we're still in touch to this day, although she's no longer a guest at the shelter. And I would go twice a week. And I loved going. And I think it was the beginning of my journey to self-love, because what I realized was if I could show up at a shelter and love total strangers and be loved by total strangers, then there must be something lovable about me. And that was my first sort of like, foray into like, I need to work on loving me, because I did not at all. And, that's such a big part of healing. And I was also teaching the women to love themselves. And I also certified them and their children in Reiki. I had these little geniuses, like, 10 years old, channeling the energy. It was fantastic. Seeing them stand there with these certificates, it was such a beautiful gift. Sadly, when I left the shelter, the program didn't continue because nobody continued it, and they wouldn't bother paying someone on the team to keep it going, which was silly because it wouldn't have cost very much to keep it going once it was making a difference in these people's lives. Like every time I went, they were open, more and more open. They were maintaining the openness. Their whole auras were changing. So I could see what happened over time.
And like love, that's the best and the highest vibration that we come in when we do a Reiki practice too. So finding that love when you were at that shelter really would have enhanced your own Reiki practice too. I'm sure it did.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. I mean, sometimes there were 30 women and babies in the room screaming, and then sometimes you were 6 volunteers and there was one person, and you're like, why? And at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I know why. Because if there was anybody else in the room, she wouldn't have told us what she told us. Right. It was always perfect. You never had to worry about how many came or didn't come, or would someone show up. Like it was always perfect.
Yeah. I find that with Reiki, it's just like different things happen and you have to pivot, but it's always at the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, I get why this happened and that happened. And then you just learn to trust it as it flows.
Certainly.
Yeah. And, it was funny, actually. Christy and I both looked into getting acupuncture license as well. But it's 4 years, and then we both never did. We just really wanted to enhance our Reiki journeys as well. So funny that you kind of went in that similar, like, should I, shouldn't I? But what kind of Reiki did you end up getting certified in?
Usui. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was traditionally taught by my teacher, Martin Crespo. And so that's what I teach. And I know I've had fire Reiki. I know about deer Reiki. I mean, I know there's all kinds of Reiki. If I had a lot of extra time, would I maybe dabble in something else? Perhaps. But there's so many other things to learn. And I think Reiki's Reiki. Really to me, what makes Reiki your Reiki is your own individual vibration, what you bring to the table. You can call in all the archangels you want. You can call in the elements. You can call in the crystals. You can work with sound. You can imagine color. You can play different frequencies and tuning forks. I mean, it's you can make it a whole smorgasbord Reiki session. I didn't want to.
I'm really glad you said that, because I have the exact same belief. I think Reiki is Reiki, and at the end of the day, it's the energy work, and then your essence is going to make it your own. So I agree. I personally, and this might be controversial, but I don't think one Reiki is better than the other. I think it's a practitioner who brings their own self. And like we were speaking before we got recording here, you bring sacred geometry to your sessions. Like that's amazing. And the sound healing. I know Christy works with tuning forks as well. I love that. Do you want to talk more about the sacred geometry and the other aspects that you bring to a healing session?
Sure. And I'll just mention, I also recently was worked on by a Reiki master because I needed, even though I did Reiki on myself today a couple of times because I'm processing some more releases and breath work a couple of times today. Literally today was a big lift. But I went, sometimes spirit will guide me to go to someone. And there's a woman named Teresa Joseph who wrote the book Everyday Mystic. And she was in finance, and like spirit was like, you're a healer and you got to study this Reiki. She's like, what's this Reiki? And she channels grace. And Mary and Yeshua show up on a regular basis, but she gets visions. I mean, totally different Reiki than I had with another fire Reiki person who was amazing, totally different than the next person. So I think, like you said, everybody's got their own vibration, and what they bring to the table is their unique signature. For me, sound, I started working with sound bowls almost immediately as I got attuned to Reiki, because my lower back was bothering me. So I bought a sea bowl and I would sit up against a tree and play it, and it gave me some relief. And then I noticed that I started playing the bowls on people's body during Reiki, or just, around their field as I was led. And so I really liked that. And I also found that if I went to the shelter and there were 10 women and I had to channel the Reiki and I could put my hands on everyone, how was I going to send it out to them? Now, I could have sat there and done all the symbols and just done that. But I thought, well, why not sing and play this instrument? Because it's going to come through my voice. And so I usually when I'm channeling Reiki for a group, I will lead them up through their chakras with visualizations of color. I might be using a light system that has sacred geometry inserts. That's another vibration. So whether it's, Metatron's cube or pyramid or a dodecahedron or, icosahedron or the platonic solids, you also have ascension ladder. You have in the infinity symbol on the throat with turquoise is one I always use on the throat. And so there's all of these different symbols. They're not all sacred geometry, but some are just symbols. For instance, and Fibonacci spiral. And so there's one filter that's called blocker, and it always gets picked with Fibonacci spiral, and it clears negativity out of somebody's field. I was in Nepal, and everybody was going to the crematoriums on the sides of the river. And, something inside me was like, don't you dare. Oh, no, you do not want to go there. I'm an empath, and I pick stuff up left, right, and center. And so I stayed behind, but I was smart enough to bring my blocker. And I'm telling you, the people who went came back like black clouds over them. Their eyes were like dark. And I just all I had to do was just, and they were cleared, kind of like if you had sage or, did some salt and alcohol ritual on them or whatnot. So they really come in handy. They work on third degree burns. They work on headaches. I reverse all my migraines with Reiki. And if I have the lights, I'll use the lights first. But there was one time when I didn't have the lights and all I had was ice and Reiki and Archangel Michael. So, migraine's pretty hard to reverse. The medicine for migraine's pretty darn strong. So when I started realizing I could reverse my own migraines with Reiki, I was like, woohoo, I'm so happy about this, so that was cool. So the sacred geometry is very intuitive as well. Pretty much everything I do it's intuitive. And so I will ask what color wants to work in somebody's field. If I send long distance Reiki, I'll start usually with the chakras. I'll test them all. I'll see how open they are. And then I'll kind of scan the colors. There's 30 something of them. And I'll scan the symbols and I'll see what wants to work. And then I'll write down crown, really angry at God. Whatever comes through on that. And I'll write automatic writing will come through so I can give that person the feedback afterwards. So that's how I'll channel the Reiki with the lights and the sacred geometry. And I prefer to use the lights when I'm doing long distance Reiki because I find them so much fun. They're like little toys, little flashlights, I'm sure I'd use them in Atlantis, at some point.
Yeah. When you talk about these lights, what are they?
They're incandescent lights. Actually, I have them right here. You want me to grab the box?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're full. Right.
I was thinking about you, Christine, how you use your Metatron cube and how you collect stuff.
So the bulbs are very gentle and they're incandescent. And if I open it up, you see, that's just one side.
Oh.
Right. Now I take the light and I take one of the filters. One of the ones that always wants to work on the heart is Form B. It's green with a dendrite, which is, from the brain. See that?
Oh, yeah.
This, like every time somebody's got heart stuff, this calls out to be worked with. So this is a go-to. Like I have my faves. No, I won't say I have my faves. My higher self has her faves. And then in this little box are all of the inserts. So for instance, this is Om.
Oh,
and
so
by the way, on Gaia Goddess's website, I channel Reiki with the lights, and I put a screen of the color with the insert, and I have the person receiving the energy and looking at it.
Cool.
So this, and here's the infinity. Like I told you guys, there was an infinity, right? So if I want to take, this one has its own insert in it already, the green one I had just shown you. But let's say I take scarlet red and I want to put Om inside of it. Then I put it inside and now you see it. You see the Om?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those only listening to this, it looks like a flashlight, and then she can insert different filters on the top. Like that's amazing.
Yeah. And the top is the color, and then inside the top is a very thin piece of metal that's stamped out to be platonic solids, any ascension, like 9-pointed stars. I mean, all of these things have vibration. So when you combine them, you're creating, sort of their own custom vibration that they need. And again, you just work with them intuitively. So when we all have our innate intelligence and our innate knowing, it's the people that are like, oh no, I have to get trained in 25 different certifications that usually don't trust themselves enough to actually, use healing energy, because they don't think it's like either they're not worthy of it or they don't feel like they could do it right. But I think that our culture trains us to think that way and not believe in ourselves and know how powerful we are.
We knew a very powerful energy healer, and she was phenomenal. She even helped my dad a lot. And she was so self-conscious because she was never professionally trained. She didn't have any certification. And we told her, I said, it doesn't matter. Like she was so good. And it's funny how we almost feel like we need to have a certificate on the
Isn't
wall
it crazy?
to prove something. But it's ultimately it comes from inside of us anyways. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like who is the first acupuncturist? How did they come up with that? Who certified them? And it's funny. It's interesting because I have led cacao. I don't do it often, but when I've led it, it's been powerful. People are having releases and lights are blinking. And so I knew I was going to lead it for a retreat. And I got a little pushback from someone because I wasn't certified. And I said, I don't need to be certified. I'm channeling Gaia Goddess. Excuse me. I think I know what I'm doing. And after the Spirit will always give you a confirmation, because after that session, this amazing career astrologer who is at the retreat came up to me. She's like, oh my God, Maria, your cacao. You should only do cacao. You're like, should always do cacao ceremonies. And, I don't know. I'm sure I could be better at it or whatever. All I know is it worked. And it was, and it's so that was the confirmation that, Maria, a lot of this is intention. If you allow love to come through you and healing to come through you, and you have Reiki is going to express in everything you do. If you are painting a painting or cooking a meal for your family, Reiki comes through everything, right? Yeah. Even through intimacy, physical intimacy, you have to ask it to turn off. So I've had friends are like, how do I get it to turn off? I got a new lover and I don't want it buzzing. I'm like, I think that's a plus.
I know. Bring it in. I agree. Yeah. See what happens. It's funny. Okay, Christy, I didn't tell you this yet, but Brenna, she was on the podcast. She went to Nicaragua. She does a yoga retreat there, and she brought back these bricks of cacao, or like right from Nicaragua. And I bought half a kilo of this cacao because I tasted it for the first time. And I'm going to do exactly like you. I'm going to just intuitively have a ceremony like prepared and then like channel the Reiki and have a ceremony because cacao is such a heart opener. And I'm going to give you a little, by the way. You're welcome, Christy.
Yeah.
She doesn't know this yet. But yeah, I'm going to be like you. I'm just going to just be led and let like the Reiki and the energy flow to me and just do what intuitively needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the nice things about, if you're opening a ceremony and you're opening the 4 directions, right? If you're working with cacao, you might want to open the directions. You might want to work with the elements, the water, the mineral, the fire that heats it, whatever. And also to honor, I think I have a lot of young people working in the company, and there is this whole cultural appropriation movement, blah, 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 blah. I think the key is to always give credit to where these customs came from, how they came about, who actually, where does it come from? How is it grown? Is it done sustainably? There's a lot of stuff about people overusing white sage or Palo Santo being on the verge of extinction. I'm not sure about all of that. I think you have to feel in yourself, right? You have to like kind of tap into your own, like, hey, is this okay for me to keep using? And if your answer is yes, then just keep using it. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's like, maybe we can find a substitute, because I think there's a lot of judgment going on in this world right now, even in this, especially in this whole spiritual thing, this whole spiritual realm where people are like, oh yeah, but you can't do cacao if you're not from the Mayan civilization, or you can't do this if you don't have a certification for it. I got certified in breath work, but I've been leading breath work long before I got certified by David Elliott. And my friend's like, why? And I was like, I think in this instance, I wanted to have that experience of like working with other people. And it was 9 days of intensive breath. And it was amazing. And it was at Omega. And I love David. And I almost think he might be on my board one day. So I don't know. There was some reason why I wanted to be certified, but not because I felt like I had to. I don't think I do think people do read your bios, and I do think that for certain things, like you're going to be a doula, you got to be certified. Probably, unless you're, in some country out in where you've been brought up by a bunch of doulas, and then that was your certification.
Yeah, that hits home for me as well. It's just all about intention, coming back to what your intention is bringing to that ceremony, and what space are you holding for the other people. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper on the wall, and it's how you feel about it too. Like with our friend, she had people ask her, well, I'm not coming to you because you're not certified. And it's like, well, that's not the person that you're supposed to help. You'll attract the people that trust your intention and your gifts. Yeah. And I remember meeting and training a woman. Access consciousness was my first stop on my spiritual, path. And I remember learning a process called the bars and these points on the head. And it's actually very powerful. And so I certified her in bars. And I mean, she has like 16 certificates. I don't think she says her husband says she collects them. So some people want to say, oh, I have Reiki and I have this and I have that and I have that and I have that and that and that. And that's fine, Yeah. But I don't know. I like to think that those that learn Reiki use it, at least on themselves. Yes. And maybe on a child. I know a lot of people who learned it and just never really used it, and then felt that they had lost it, which isn't, as you guys know, truthful. Once you're attuned, you're always attuned. I think that there's a big need for more people to channel the energy and teach it and use it on themselves. Like self Reiki is powerful.
And most of my students never knew that until one came back to me and she's like, oh my God, I've been doing self Reiki every day since level 1. It is incredible. And I've saved myself many times, with self Reiki. So like I said, on migraines and stuff like that. So for something that takes 4 hours to learn, and you could like reverse a 3rd-degree burn or reverse someone's headache or your own, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And that self Reiki, I really stress that to my students who learn level 1. I'm like, you got to do those 21 days integration. Like, you got to just get used to that energy. And it's awesome. Like, trust me, you'll want to keep doing it because it feels amazing. You'll be so like infatuated with it.
Yeah. I also find, I don't know if you guys teach it this way, but I like to teach people how to test their chakras and with pendulums, so they can see the difference before, if they were open, but they weren't hugely open, and then they received the Reiki and then it's swinging like, So I think when you are feeling, for me, even today, I felt off and I'm like, okay, something's coming up for me. What are the energies? And I did some theta healing on myself, but like just getting into it and finding out, okay, so there's some loneliness, there's some sadness, there's some grief, blah, blah, blah. What percentage? Oh, it's 20% on this and 50% on this. I do the theta healing. What percentage? 0, 0, 0. So the same thing with the Reiki. Like I was close, open, open. Now everything's open. So if you are every day, like then you start to have self-awareness because you feel, wow, I'm usually open. So when I'm closed, completely closed, I feel despondent. Most people walking around either completely closed or 5 out of 7 closed, right? In today's world, like, or half. And, but they don't know the difference because they haven't had the experience of being open most of the time, right? Their vibration is different because they haven't been doing the Reiki, or other healing modalities, So I think that's a big motivator to like test your chakras, then do your self Reiki, then test yourself again. You're like, oh, I opened all of them up.
Yeah. I like to teach my students to scan and see if they can feel how open or closed they are. And I love that. I love how they can just feel the difference before and after too. Yeah.
Do all of your students feel it the same way? Like some people feel tingling, some people might feel expansion. Do you find that they all feel it the same way, or they get it slightly different?
It's different for sure.
Yeah.
They get hot hands, or they can get almost like goosebumps up the back. Yeah, it definitely varies. I feel like everyone is their own. Or some people feel nothing right off the hop, and that's okay too, right? We can just trust that it's working, keep practicing in it, being in the feel of it, and then things, something will happen. They're like, oh, this happened, or the person felt something, and then that makes them feel better too. And it's just like, yes, keep going.
Right. I really wanted to ask you about Gaia Goddess. I really wanted you to share with our audience what that is all about.
Sure. Thank you. Well, I think the Reiki and then the volunteering the Reiki kind of led as a segue because to Gaia Goddess. I didn't know at the time. My mother died, and shortly thereafter, my marriage of 26 years shattered. And I literally picked up my kids were already in college. So I picked up my suitcase and I moved out of state in like a blink of an eye. And I was really led by spirit. And I was also strengthened by spirit for a period. And then the reality hit. Like it was pretty crazy. 10 years of dark night of the soul, going through some really heavy stuff, and asking and writing about it. And in that time, I had gotten the name Gaia Goddess before I left Miami and my marriage. I thought I was doing something different. I think spirit was like, let's just tell her it's t-shirts because she won't think that that's too much and too much of an investment. She's already scared. She's going through a divorce. I mean, of course, we're not going to tell her she's launching like a major global brand. Also, I hadn't healed my self-love. I hadn't healed major fear of failure. I had my whole life. So I was not the person I am today when I got the vision. So they gave me a little mini vision. But when I saw this place in Connecticut, I heard this is a healing center for women. And it's where I film a lot. It's kind of like the roots for the business. There are roots in New York and there's roots in Connecticut. And it's all indigenous land. And I still didn't know we were filming on-demand content, but it was kind of like, oh, not doing t-shirts. We're going right into wellness. And then it was like podcasts and filming healers and meditations. And the idea was that I had gone through and was still going through a horrific time of transformation. It's very, very painful to grief and abuse and neglect and sexual trauma and all of these things that I didn't even remember half of them had happened. And then they started to be revealed to me in the middle of a pandemic. I'm alone in a brand new house, alone, and not knowing how I'm going to get through day by day, but I do somehow. And this went on for some time, and then started the business. And I don't know how I got through days. I really don't. And I was writing a book and it's not finished yet, but it's really all about the journey. And so I realized that I was alone. I mean, yeah, I could have like jumped on a meeting on Zoom or whatever, but I was alone for most of this. I was not married. I didn't have a partner. I felt so lost. I knew why it was happening. I knew I had chosen it. I knew it was part of my path and part of my training ground. To be able to do this kind of business, you have to go through it. You have to know, you have to have experience with the trauma that you're going to address. You have to know how important womb healing is and why, and what women have endured. You have to know what it feels like to be totally disempowered in a relationship to help empower another woman. And so I had to go through the fire, and I did. And I'm not going to say I still don't, there aren't days where there's a little fire still. There's definitely some embers are still there, but for the most part, I got through, I think, the majority of what I needed to alchemize so that I could see what every other woman needs, the same thing I needed. Maybe not exactly the same formula. Maybe they're not going to do lights. Maybe they're never going to become a Reiki healer, but maybe they're going to use breath work and they're going to do belly dancing to release the womb trauma. Or, like the idea was to create a space where women could tap in and know that they also had intuition, and they could be given suggestions like our weekly wellness themes, or, hey, try this 7-minute chakra balance. See how you feel. It's got lights. It's got Reiki. Just listen 7 minutes and see if you feel a shift, right? And if you like it, you may want to try it for 21 days. And then you could do some workouts. Let me say, maybe don't combine too many energetic practices when you're first learning one. So I also realized how expensive it is to go to readers and to go to Reiki masters. Like, people are $300 an hour for Reiki, some of them. Some people are $500 for an hour of healing, right? It depends on where you live, but also getting to them. And as well as I do, long distance works. And also, when we come together to heal, it is so much more powerful. It's like when we come together to pray, it's amplified. The healing's amplified and our love is amplified. So to create a community of women that are all breathing together, or doing Reiki on a, quarterly share, and then they're going to go to the next retreat in Connecticut and they're going to get their level 1 training on day 1. And then they're going to do some breath work and a sound bath and have 2 days in Connecticut, and they'll get level 1 training, at an affordable price. And they'll have an affordable retreat, because retreats aren't usually affordable, right? I mean, the big ones. So the idea was to provide women what I was fortunate to be exposed to, the tools I had in my own back pocket that were mine, but also some other tools that I don't have, that I'm not a shaman. I don't know I don't do certain things, but I like to experience it. And I think it's fun. I also think it's, this is such a pivotal time on the planet. And, the vibration of the earth is going up. As we know, the Schumann resonance has gone up. We know that the divine feminine is rising. But the thing is that, we cannot ascend into the fifth dimension until the feminine masculine is in perfect balance within ourselves, and also men and women. And I'm starting with the women because I know I need to start there, not because men don't need healing. So we will work with men someday. And I hope to work with couples as well, because I think that's a big part of healing as well. So, for me, I've loved being on retreats. We've done 3 international retreats. We do events, and, nothing brings me more joy than working with women, either online, even when I do a Reiki at 8:00 at night. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to stay up to do Reiki tonight. But I'm always lifted, right? Because when you channel the energy, you receive the energy. And the love that you send out, it lifts you. So that's really was how Gaia Goddess evolved. And I know it has a ways to go. It's not a flash in the pan. It's something that's taken a long time to get it where it is. And it will continue to grow. We'll offer it to organizations that women can afford it. We'll give it. We'll give it as gifts to help homeless women or women who are here without means here in the country, immigrants, whatever. I mean, I've already talked to a few organizations. And then, and I see us going around the world. I see us going around the world and trying all kinds of different healing, and also doing some grid work together as well. Yeah.
I love that you're working with the feminine and lifting. Can I ask you though, do you wonder if the rise of the divine feminine, which I love, and I've actually been incorporating that into my Reiki sessions, is starting to swing too much to the one direction? Because I'm finding that a lot of women now are becoming so masculine heavy. It's almost like they're trying to step in. Wow. How am I trying to say this? They're coming up from the ashes, but it's almost like they're not stepping so much into their feminine, really. It's almost like they feel like they need to step into the masculine.
It feels more feminist. Well, so sadly, like, I think the rise of the divine feminine means, being comfortable to do a spreadsheet and crunch some numbers, which I don't love to do numbers, but also step into your sensual goddess, sorceress, self, and sensual, like we have been shamed. So reclaiming the power of our sensuality and our womb and our creativity, and, all of that is part of being feminine, and it's powerful. And that is why, have you guys read Naomi Wolf's book, Vagina? Oh, highly recommend.
Ooh,
yeah, absolutely. Because it's researched as to how women have been systematically disempowered through their womb space. And I do get messages from my business. I mean, you could call it Gaia Goddess who's talking to me. You could call it spirit. You could call it my guides. I'm not going to go there at this moment, but I will say that I was in Maui and I was like sort of almost under hypnosis. And all of a sudden I started seeing visions, and this voice came to me and she's like, womb healing, womb healing, womb healing. And did I say womb healing? Like, now is the time that you are going to focus. And we just had a retreat in Costa Rica. And out of all the women, I gave them yoni steam blends that I prepared. And I'm like, who wants to do a virtual yoni steam when we get back? And every single one of them raised their hand. And I will give them the invocation I channeled, and I'll play the Mona Lina, and I'll probably sing, and Reiki will come, and they'll be steaming at the same time. And it's so powerful. It's so, so powerful too. And that's just one of the ways, right, that we can heal our womb space. I've been I've struggled a lot in that healing area. I have not healed that area completely. So working on it. And so I'm very interested in it because it's an issue for me. And I know how many women it's an issue for. And even if it's not something they suffered through in this lifetime, what about their mother? What about their grandmother? What about, the last thousands of years since even Jesus's time? If you were menstruating, you were unholy, right? If your husband touched you while you were menstruating, he had to go into the sea for what? I don't know, 7 days or 7 hours. I forget. But, just watch Chosen on Netflix, and like it reenacts that whole scene with that woman couldn't. Anyway, it's like one of the most beautiful natural things our bodies do. And the earth loves the moon cycle and loves to like compost. It loves it. Plants love it. And, and we are shamed. Like I remember getting my period in school or having to go buy a box of tampons at CVS and like being like, so like hiding in an aisle, sticking it under my shoulder. God forbid there was a man standing next to me when I had to put the box down.
Wrap them in a nudie magazine so it doesn't seem so weird. But yeah, no, I agree. And you know what? I think I would love for us to bring back the quality of the divine mother, people being proud to be moms and not being like, I'm just a mom, like empowering the woman to be a mother again. I feel like there's such shame wrapped around when people are just a mom. I'm putting that in quotes because it feels like that's not enough.
I felt,
it's like
I have to say, I felt a little,
people.
I felt because of my self-worth, I felt, my sister's a thoracic surgeon and had twins. And so I felt, I had help. I mean, I had nannies. My husband did well for himself. So, but I loved being a mom. But I wished I had something I pursued of my own, because I do love to write and why didn't I have a dream or something just for me? And I think that goes back to the whole giving and sacrificing for the husband and the kids, and that you're not the important one in the equation. I think that was part of it. And the other reason why I didn't have a dream is because of the fear of failure thing. So I only did things I could totally kick out of the park. That was safe. Martha Stewart on steroids, I could do her. And I did until I realized I was crazy, and why I did it was I needed validation, and people would tell me how great a cook I was. And then I realized I don't even like to cook after my mother died. So I had a whole crisis of who was I? I wasn't who I thought I was. But, why do we do things sometimes, right? Is to make ourselves feel worthy or peer worthy. And I don't think we're always we're not educated, when we're young about what even self-love is. Maybe nowadays they are, but we weren't. Who talked about it? My mother certainly didn't. She didn't even talk about like, honey, you don't look, your boyfriend and you broke up, you look sad. You want to talk about it? Like there was no conversation. No emotional connection. We were fed.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
Yeah, it's funny we're mentioning this because I was just listening to a podcast on my way home today, and they were talking about healing the collective on Earth, and it all starts with healing the mother. And when we heal the mother, we're going to heal the sons and the daughters and everyone else. And another funny thing that they mentioned was, we see all these headlines on the news about, stuff that is, not important, but it's like most important thing that happened that day is like 10,000 babies were born that day. That's a miracle in itself that a woman's womb space, like knits together your spine, your eyes, like that is a miracle in itself. And I think that needs to be in the forefront. People need to realize that they are a miracle and that they are here for a reason and that they need to live in their authenticity. And I feel like that is like when the movement, when the pendulum swings, is like going back to that, the feminine piece, the womb piece, the mother piece, and it all kind of falls under that one umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have a good point there. And, you know, I think the whole idea of mother, because there's a lot of mother wounds, as we know, right? Not every mother is, you know, there's no such thing as perfect. We all have our stuff. And if we didn't get it as a child, you know, part of the healing is then to nurture yourself and mother yourself and be that for yourself. And that's a beautiful energy. Like one of the things I get back during my Reiki is, people say it online and even in person, they're like, oh my God, there's such motherly energy that comes through you. And it's funny because when I was in college, my roommates called me Mommy Pinhead, and Mommy, because I was always telling them it was their turn to do the chores and clean the kitchen and whatever. And Pinhead, because they couldn't fit into my cowboy hats. My head was smaller than theirs. So that in the 80s, that was a problem in New York City because everybody was wearing cowboy hats. But I do know I have very maternal energy. Mm-hmm. And so does Gaia Goddess. And so that's a big part of our platform is the nurturance, the safe space, the tenderness to yourself, the patience and the compassion you have to have for yourself. I mean, I got to tell you, when I went through all of that transformation, the person I was hardest on, not my abusers, not my, emotionally withholding mom, not my blah, 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 me for having picked it all. Like on some level, right? We are our own creators of reality and we choose before we come down what experiences we're going to have. And I was like, so damn mad at myself. So I think there was a lot of self-forgiveness that I had to extend myself. That seems like it's harder to forgive yourself, I think, sometimes than it is to forgive others.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's where it all starts, is forgiving yourself for abandoning yourself and thinking that something was wrong with you when you were born completely whole. And that's, I feel like if everybody could go on that journey, wow, the world would be a different place.
Well, we may be all going on that journey.
Yeah.
In the next 50 years, who knows?
That's right.
Well, if they want to get started on that journey, they should really give your website and everything a look at. So why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you, or they can get connected within you? And
yeah, for sure.
A lot of great stuff.
Well, our Instagram has a lot of great content. So, what's going on, what workshops are coming down the pipeline, what events. And there's just some pretty content, some beautiful, uplifting content. But the website, so the Instagram is at Gaia Goddess Lifestyle. Gaia, Gaia, Goddess, Goddess Lifestyle. And then the website is www.GaiaGoddessLifestyle.com. On the Gaia Goddess Lifestyle, you guys, if you wanted to, could sign up for a Reiki for $10, or you could become a free member for 7 days. And if there was a quarterly Reiki occurring during that time, you could do it for free. But you could just try it for $10 and just see, hey, do I notice a shift? Oh, I do. Wow. Okay. So I get this quarterly. I get a quarterly workshop, 4-part series for free. I get 200 plus pieces of content, some of which are Reiki, some of which are tapping, emotional freedom technique. Like there's energy, yoga, Pilates, cacao, reciprocity. There's a learning with Gaia row. I talk about what is womb healing? How do you know you need it? Like, what would the signs be? And now you want to do it? How can you do it? And so I really find a big part of the video on demand library is the learning pieces, because not everybody knows what Reiki is. I feel like most of the people that come to us will be people that, maybe doing yoga, maybe do Pilates, do physical stuff, maybe have tried Reiki or maybe never even heard of Reiki. Like, I don't know if you would, like, it wouldn't be your person who's been in the spiritual world for 20 years necessarily coming to Gaia Goddess. It would be someone who is going through a transition in her life. She's going through a divorce. She's lost someone. She's going through grief. We have breath work for grief. We have breath work for confidence. We have breath work, so we theme our different offerings to deal with what we all go through, which is life and sometimes pain and suffering. Or we want to build our confidence, or we want to feel sexy. What's Tantra? How do you connect how do you reignite, right? That part of yourself, you're back out there in the dating world, and, you haven't been touched by a man in however many years. We really eventually tap into whatever we can that sort of, again, puts women in their power as women, which means, they're masculine and they're feminine, they're sensual and their business mind, support groups for women in business. If we want to change this world, we cannot have 90% of businesses owned by men. I'm sorry. It needs to be like 50-50 at least. You know what I mean? And women are going to do it better. They just are. They're more intuitive, and they're less like, how men can be very structured and rigid. Stuck and rigid, where we're just going to flow. You need both though. You have to have structure and foundations and stuff like that. But I think that there's so many ways. Menopause is such a huge topic for women these days. Also, exploring women's cycles and harnessing their energies during ovulation and knowing when to, how to respect their cycles and work. Cyclic business is a big topic. So there's so many areas that are coming to the forefront. And why? Because we need change. Yeah. And it's, I don't know. How do you guys feel? Like, you feel like it's right there on the horizon?
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah. And wow, I wish I had Gaia Goddess when I was going through my spiritual awakening like 5 years ago. It'd be so amazing to be able to go to a website and be like, hey, this is how I feel. I want to learn this. I want to do that. Because it's like people go and search and do all these things, but when it's all in one place, like, that is just amazing. I love that.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe you'll be teaching a Reiki class on Gaia Goddess's website one day, or something else. You know what I mean?
That would be amazing. No.
Yeah, because we'll have human design. Women love to get certificates, as you know. So I don't think I'll ever have the patience to do a whole astrology thing, but I would like the basics.
Yeah.
So maybe one of our workshops will be like astrology 101, career astrology 101 or something like that. But
Christy and I we're lifetime learners. We always want to know all the things. So I feel like doesn't matter where we are on our journey, we would still check that out and hope to learn. I'm sure we would.
Oh, well, you know what? You guys, as my guests, come to maybe the next online Reiki when I play the Monalina and sing, and you can see what that's like.
I would love to.
That.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure we send you the link and let you know when it is. I'll talk to Megan tomorrow. So
please do.
Yeah. Okay. And then for the audience, you could just go to the events, and under events, that's where we have our virtual events. And it's $10 to try it. If you're not a member, if you're a member, it's free. If you're a silver member, the quarterly Reiki is free. Everything's free if you're a silver member. So that's another way if you ever wanted to try it. Become a silver member, and it's free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like this was amazing. I loved speaking with you.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I didn't get to ask you questions, but I know that's not really the whole idea of your podcast. It's like, what are you guys up to? But thank you guys for having me. It was so much fun. Yeah. I love, by the way, your title. I love Reiki. God, now I can't even think about it. Can't think of the Reiki, living the Reiki life, because it is a lifestyle. It is something that you do daily.
Yes.
I mean, right?
Oh,
and I don't think people
absolutely.
understand that. It becomes your life, part of your life.
Yes, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Christy gets props for that name.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it was,
I was
really
like,
good. I was like,
living your
yes.
best life. And it was like living your Reiki life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Yes.
guys again for having me, and have a great rest of the evening.
Yes, you too. Thanks so much.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, if it's your first time listening, we always love to end our episodes with a card pull, and Amanda is doing the honors today, so let's see what is in store.
I'm going to use, I can't remember what this deck is called. Oh, the Light Seers Tarot deck. It's like a nice modern twist on the tarot deck. And I'm just going to do a general message for the collective today. Okay, so my spread is kind of different today. Normally I pull a card for the overall energy, and then I have like a 3 across like past, present, kind of future thing, but 2 kept coming out at a time. So I have 2 in each one. So if you're reading cards and maybe you have a spread that you like, it's okay to kind of shift things around and go intuitively. Like for me, this just feels like enough. It looks funny to me, but it feels complete. So in the overall energy, I have the King of Swords in the reverse. And so this kind of, to me, means that there's a lot of energy. Pardon me. This to me means that there's a lot of like second guessing and doubt. So swords is all about that thought and thinking. And since it's in the reverse, it just means that it feels like you don't have a grasp on things, or things are just kind of flying around unorganized, if you will. And the next cards that came up were the Devil and the 6 of Swords. So it's like someone's trying to move past something, but something keeps almost sucking them in. And it could even be something like a bad habit. So the Devil is kind of like that addiction energy. So someone's trying to move forward, but they keep getting roped in or into like almost like our paradigm, right? Like our default. So even if we're trying to move on, we naturally gravitate to our habits and things like that. So it's really kind of sucking us backwards, and we're kind of getting stuck in this loop. And then I have the Death and Rebirth, so the Death card in the reverse, which is good. And then I have the 3 of Cups also in the reverse. So the Death card is almost like, well, I guess it's not great. The Death card in reverse means that there's trying to be a completion here, but someone is prolonging it. So again, getting caught in that cycle of not moving forward. And so they're kind of delaying this death. It's almost like you're drawing it out, which is kind of crappy. And this could be a fallout with a friend. This could even be a fallout with even like a partnership with that 3 of Cups in the reverse. I'm seeing these 3 girls right together, but it feels like maybe times are coming to an end, but for some reason things just, someone is hanging on and they can't let go. But in the future, I'm seeing this Page of Swords and this 8 of Pentacles. So the Page of Swords, these are both in the upright. So these are really, really good cards. So this Page of Swords is all about, again, the swords, like ideas, new thoughts, and new coming in. Pages are really fresh, new energy. And it feels like even something's going to be like really well learned from this, or you're going to start learning something else. And it's going to make you feel a lot more free. And then this 8 of Pentacles here is all about kind of manifesting in what you want. So maybe it is even on the business front, or maybe you're thinking at all aspects of your life, even like making more money or just getting those new habits and being surrounded by good people that actually want to see you grow and that will support what you're doing. And they're not making you feel bad when you're not seeing them on a regular basis. So maybe you are trying to bring more attention into your own family, or you're trying to grow a business, or you're trying to learn something and try to get through school. That takes up a lot of your time and attention. And sometimes we have to cut those cords that are just weighing us down and keeping us stagnant so we can move forward. But in the meantime, it's kind of like a mental bleep. Like it's like a, I didn't want to swear. It's kind of like a mental cluster in your head that is just really confusing, and maybe there's some guilt associated with it, but you have to kind of release that and let it go so you can move on. Yeah, and at the bottom of the deck it's this Knight of Swords, so it's like run, don't walk. If you want to get at your goals, hop on the bike and go. The time is now. Like, don't wait any longer. It feels like this has been a reoccurring cycle for quite some time. And, they really do say, like, you are the people that you surround yourself with, because it's true. Like, if you're surrounded by people who are complaining about money, who are complaining about hard times, that's exactly what you're going to keep bringing into your life. If you surround yourself with people who are doing the things that are inspiring, that's the kind of outcome you're going to get. It's going to really inspire you too. And I know this from my own personal experience. I can totally relate to this message. And yeah, that is tarot for you. Like Christy was saying, it is the blunt truth that you're going to hear today. So hopefully that resonated with someone. I think this was a very specific message for someone, actually. So here we are.
Yeah. What do they say? Like, tarot's that honest friend that, sometimes you don't want to listen to, but you have to. And no, that was, there was parts in parts of that message that really resonated with me. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. I know when cards started coming out, I was like, oh no, this isn't great. So I go, this is good.
It's like reshuffle.
Yeah, no kidding, but
can't.
You don't do that. Yeah.
No, I did that once, and the Oracle deck has 42 cards? I can't even remember. And I pulled 2 of the same 3, and I was like, what's the chances of that? And it's like, no, you need to read these cards. And you're like, yeah, I know.
That's right. Yeah.
No. All right. So you can find us on Instagram at Living the Reiki Life. And you can also find us on our personal pages as well. So we have information about booking and about us. And my handle is The Birch Soul.
Yes, and mine is Reiki with Manda. Oh, also, we have our Reiki circle for August coming up, which is Monday the 18th. So come and join us. We already have a couple people signed up, some newbies signed up. Woohoo! And we would love to have you. Even if you don't know Reiki and you want to just come and check it out, maybe you're interested, come. We'd love to have you. Come and see what's up. Maybe you need some Reiki and you just want to be a part of that group setting and find a great community. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah. And there's no pressure. I've been part of groups before where they go around the circle and everybody has to share something. It's like, we don't do that. If you just want to come and turn your camera off and just be part of the energy, go for it. Or if you want to come and share a story, go for it. Yeah, everyone's welcome. So,
yeah, really good point. That's exactly right. You don't even have to have your camera on.
Yeah.
But we like to give people opportunity to ask questions, share something cool. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
1